religions. Again, they're designing the questions. Can we migrate through this trend, through scientific education and better communication? So they're getting pushback. People are feeling they're being outsourced by machinery and by technologies that they have not considered and certainly have not been presented to them. This is, again, the fear in society. And so they're asking all the attendees there, how can they brainwash society to accept all of these technologies that are destined to occur? The FAA will regulate the airspace in 2015 for drones. Bell Lab talked about cameras on people and how this changes people's behavior, how the cameras on law enforcement has absolutely changed the behavior in law enforcement. And again, cameras will change behavior. So they believe that through greater surveillance and greater camera viewing of all of us, our behaviors will be changed, they say, for the better. In Russia, almost everyone has a camera. Bell Labs right now has a team working on using copper in our homes. It's a new tech to use copper lines in our homes to transmit frequencies. A new way to use existing copper. This is right now being looked at Bell Labs. FCC voiced a concern. The presenter from the FCC, the concern was invisible evil force. Of course, that's what many people believe. Bell Lab talked about the impact on behavior in having police carry the cameras and enhance communication, and how cameras will change behavior globally. And again, that all the new tech will increase the spread of income dramatically. They talked about new technologies that are already available but have not yet really been presented, such as graphene, G-R-A-P-H-E-N-E. I would recommend everyone do a search on graphene. We do have a piece on stopthecrime.net, so you could go to the homepage of stopthecrime.net, type graphene in on the search engine. This is an extremely important change in solar panels. This is lighter, it's as thin as paper, and it can roll out, and it's much more affordable and has 50 to 100 times greater capacity than the current, now archaic solar panels. It's just not allowed to be out on the market in mass production yet. Again, everything has planned obsolescence, so by the time we get loans on our homes to meet the renewable energy requirements to reduce our greenhouse gas emissions in our homes, they come out with something that's easier to implement, less money, and much more efficient. So I want to turn everyone's attention to graphene, G-R-A-P-H-E-N-E. There was a quote Carl Sagan said while he pointed to his head, that our head is a machine, machinery and self-awareness and consciousness. We will have self-aware and conscious machinery, and by the year 2035, there will be more intelligent tasks, and humans will not be able to keep up with computers. And they talk about how we lack security schemes to handle this technological evolution, that these are huge markets and that they will have huge profits, and that society also naturally devalues technology. The more that society counts on it, the more that we take it for granted. They talked about how the public is naive. The designs and designers are becoming more complex with technology, and this, they say, will be great for the elderly. Again, the stated goals and the real goals. They continue to talk about challenging our definition of what is human. So this is what we're all facing, a redefinition of what is human through these technologies. MIT will slap ethical frameworks and you will change. This I found very interesting. Because our time frame now has changed because of computer time, our younger populations already now view time and life differently than older generations that are not as adapted to the computer technologies and other technologies. And what they said they're doing is they're changing all the programming. Everything that we see in the media, on television, is being changed so that it fits in with the speed of the change of technologies. And what do they mean by that? Well, they used nature programming as an example. National Geographic, for example. In the real wild kingdom, the animals are lying around and they're conserving their energy, and that is not dramatic enough for this time-intense world that we live in. So they've amped up what is expressed as nature so that our kids don't even really know how nature really works anymore. In that we now have Shark Week. So all week long, they're showing these fast, sped up shark attacks and a variety of displaced viewing of nature. That's not how nature works. And so the same thing goes with showing lions. They're always showing the hunt or the kill, rather than the lions in their natural habitat, in their groups, conversing as they would. So this has changed. Again, they're changing all of this so we don't see the old world. They're devaluing how life is being presented. Our brains are different, and they said our newer brains are being rewired by the internet effects, and humans are being coupled with technologies all around them. They spoke about how in 16 years we will have human brains hanging off our belts. In other words, the technology will be such that it will advance beyond human brains, and we will have the capability to access much greater intellectual opportunities. During our lunch, we had a talk presented to us from a professor, and it was all about the big brain, and I thought that this was very interesting. And they were throwing cognition into technology. And they talked about the non-humans, and humans have low bandwidth. Technology will carry the burden now of cognition. An interesting comment that was made is we will not have to remember. We will not need to have our memories because we will be relying on computers to remember for us. So we're literally being phased out of the equation, and that's what this IEEE was all about. The evolution of humans. Telepathic helmet with DARPA. Well, we know that they have synthetic telepathy where they can literally talk in our heads now. So they weren't coming clean with the complete advancement of technologies. But I referenced in my notes for everybody that's listening to what I'm discussing right now, again, go to the NASA War document on stopthecrime.net. And they'll talk about plug-and-play technologies for education. This is basically the big global brain discussion.
You want water?
What?
Water.
Oh, this was interesting. What do you not want engineered as a human? Too bad. They're already engineering it. I thought that was profound. What we don't want, too bad. They're already doing it. And this professor agreed to be wired into an F-35
We can stop it.
plane as part of his search for furthering technology.